To Rainy Books with Amanda. This is my first video of 2021. It's also my first book review of 2021. So if you're new to my channel, I mainly do book reviews. I do some manga Mondays, and I throw in some silent vlogs here and there. And I also did some NaNoWriMo vlogs and tips as well. I'm just kind of dabbling around. I really try to stick to more like writing stuff and book stuff, but I also like to do like the silent vlog stuff just for my own entertainment, so you'll see that scattered around here and there. But yes, the first book I am going to be reviewing today, it is called House of the Rising Sun by Richard Cox. And I did get paid to write this book. I do some book reviews with Lone Star Literary Life. I have mentioned them in my previous videos, but in case you haven't watched any of those, Lone Star Literary Life is a great organization that helps Texas authors just get their name out there. They ask different bloggers to write reviews to help the author, to help the author's book just get out there and get known with everyone's different viewership. And so I do have a written review on my blog. My blog is called Rainy Days with Amanda. So I will link that down below. I'll also link Lone Star Literary Life just in case you want to check them out too. They're also a great source for all things bookish happening in the Texas area. House of the Rising Sun is by Richard Cox, and a little bit about Richard. He was born in Odessa, Texas, and he now lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He has written 4 other books. House of the Rising Sun is his 5th book that he has written. And when he's not writing or reading, Richard loves spending time with his wife and 2 girls and hitting bombs, whatever that may mean, I'm not sure. There's not really too much about this author. He likes to be more private, and that's great. And so I'm going to read the synopsis of this book, and then we'll get into my review. When a strange new star appears in the sky, human life instantly grinds to a halt. Across the world, anything and everything electronic stops working completely. At first, the event seems like a bizarre miracle to Seth Black. It interrupts his suicide attempt and erases gambling debt that threatened to destroy his family. But when he and his wife, Natalie, realize the electricity isn't coming back on, they begin to wonder how they and their 2 sons will survive. Meanwhile, Thomas Phillips, an old friend of Natalie's, has just picked up Skylar Stover, star of his new movie, at the airport when his phone goes dead and planes begin to fall from the sky. Thomas has just completed a script about a similar electromagnetic event that ended the world. Now, he's one of the few who recognizes what's happening and where it will lead. When Thomas and Skylar decide to rescue Natalie and Seth, the unwilling group must attempt to survive together as the world falls apart. It's all they can do to hold on to each other and their humanity. Yet, all the while, unbeknownst to them, Agent Christopher, a bitter and malignant man leveraging a crumbling society to live out his darkest, most immoral fantasies, is fighting to survive as well. He's on a collision course with Thomas, Skylar, and the Black family. So it's a very post-apocalyptic story, to say the least. So if you are into any kind of like, if the world ends or if humanity goes kind of chaotic, the House of the Rising Sun, this is where it's at. So first thoughts, I really did enjoy reading this book. From the very beginning, it has you hooked to the very last chapter. It just keeps you wanting to turn the pages because there's so many things going on in this book. And it never feels overwhelming as well. So like the synopsis said, we meet 3 different groups of people, and you get to see their stories You get to see how the world is ending, per se, and going apocalyptic, and you get to see it from 3 different viewpoints. And they're all like different people. So like the groups, like the screenwriter and the actor, you get to see it from a more privileged point of view, whereas you get to see it from a more average point of view with the Seth and his family, and then you see it from more a corrupt view from Aiden's group. And so you kind of see how 3 different types of people, how they fit into the apocalyptic world, and how they embrace it, and their struggles to survive, and their ups and their downs. So you really get a great dynamic, and like I had mentioned, it never feels like it's a lot. So even each chapter is usually a different viewpoint from somebody different, from one of the different characters. And even though the author does this, it never feels like you're losing where you're at or overwhelming. It feels just right, and it's picking up where the story left off too. So like when one event happens, you see it through the eyes of one person, and then the next moment you're gonna pick up where that person left off, but from a different person's view in the next chapter. So it's kind of nice. It's a really creative move on the author's part. It's a little bit different from a lot of books I have read where there's like a ton of different people in the story. So I really enjoyed it. There's also even chapters where there's a few people talking about their viewpoints because it's just like a huge thing going on in that point in time. So you want to kind of hear it from different angles, and I just think the author does a great job at not making the characters kind of overlap too much or like just be chaotic. The flow of the book is very well. It flows very well. And it never feels like there's too many characters. And I never once forgot one character. So that was great. Because usually sometimes like I'll get a character confused with somebody else, or I forget about one character because we haven't heard from them in a while. But it was great. But I never once forgot somebody or lost track of somebody throughout the story. Everyone came in when they should have. They all got their own time to shine in the story, so that was really great as well. So the characters are really well done. And the plot of the story too, like the post-apocalyptic world, there's a lot of post-apocalyptic stories about what'll happen if humanity like falls or electricity leaves or what may it be. And this is just another great story. You can tell the elements where the author grabs from like maybe some other stories, but the author really makes this post-apocalyptic story his own, so it doesn't feel like you're just reading just an everyday apocalyptic story. It really feels like you're reading a unique story, not something that's just like drawn out over and over again. And overall, just a great story that I'm glad the author got to tell. And then I don't really have any complaints about this book. I do wish that there was more of an explanation on why the apocalypse happened in the world, or at least in the US it seemed. Just more of an explanation on why and how. Although I understand why the author didn't like make that a priority in the book. It's kind of just like touched upon, but it's not really drawn out. But I do understand why he did it, and when you read it, you'll understand like why he did it as well. And then there were some points where, you know, with us going through this pandemic in 2020 and 2021, the book can seem a little bit too real at times with just certain little aspects. So if you, so just putting a little warning there. You don't kind of want to read a book that kind of reflects a little bit of what's going on. Just putting that out there. There were times when I had to like kind of stop because it kind of felt a little bit too real, which is good because you know that the story is making you feel something and it's relatable, but that can be too much for some people. So just putting that out there first. Yeah, but overall, I really enjoyed this book. It was really interesting. It had an author made his own take on apocalyptic stories. There were some great characters with great personalities. Nothing ever felt too complex or boring, and it just flowed very well. I'll definitely be keeping this one on my shelf, and if you're looking for a great apocalyptic story for yourself, this one's a good one to pick up. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. I look forward to many more videos this year, and until next time, happy reading.